So let's talk pro positions. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Invin. Today I'm bringing you guys a guide on all the positions that you can play in competitive Call of Duty. Now over the years these positions have expanded, been reduced due to the number of players in the lobby, and the positions that have stayed consistent have changed considerably throughout. We've had new roles introduced and old ones diminished, and it really now is a game of many different skill sets in each of these different positions, but I'm going to go over the main ones that are represented in Cold War at the moment on the competitive scene, as well as touching on a few that have been and gone, and now what covers their positions. Before we jump into this video, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe down below. It'd be much appreciated. We're very close to that 250, which is my next goal for subscribers, so thank you very much in advance, and let's jump into today's video. So starting off the video, we're going to go with OBJ. This is the objective player, and this is the role that I play when I'm in league player or in any competitive matches. I'm usually the objective player. Now usually this role consists of using an SMG, rushing into the hard point after the entry fragger, which we'll get onto in a moment, holding the time down on a hard point, going for bomb plants in S&D and going for crucial kills. If you're playing control, it's the person who's going to be sticking the control timer whilst other people are doing their roles specifically, and this one is basically the guy that's going to be getting the time up on the hard point and the most objective kills there by jumping on, challenging those kills with the entry fragger and really making sure that you lock down that hard point. When anybody challenges, it's going to be your job to hold that off. As I've mentioned there as well, we have the entry fragger. The entry fragger is going to be the person that runs onto the sites or into the hard points or clears an objective in S&D first. They're going to be the person that pushes out first, gets hopefully at least a kill, and make sure that they give calls for the rest of the team as to where these players are. Now, as an objective player, your job is often to trade with this player if they do go down without getting that kill, so that it's at least a 1-for-1. But if you've got a really good entry fragger who gets a good peek, they can get a kill straight off the bat and give a call for at least the second or third enemy, and then your job is to hold that time down, make sure you're aware of where these enemies are going to be rotating from, and get the kills as a result of the information of the entry frag. Now, in the entry frag role, you're probably going to be rocking an SMG as well. You're going to be running around a lot. You're going to be going into these points first. You're not going to be holding down time as much as you might think. You're going to get a decent amount of time on hard points. You're going to get a decent amount of time on controls, and you're going to be sort of a player that likes to help out with these things. But you are also going to be pushing for the spawns. You're going to be pushing around the back of enemies. You're going to be going for the flank so that you can make sure we get that hard point back as soon as possible for the team, and you're going to hold it down until your objective player gets there and then flex it up a little bit more. Now, some people do call this role kind of like the flex role, like I mentioned there. This just means you're jumping in and out, but there's also another name for flex role, which is a flex on guns, so between the AR and the SMG, so we'll get into that in just a moment. You've then got the main slayer. This is the person that's going to be going around and getting kills on the map, so they're going to be playing near the objective, but they're going to be outside of the objective more than likely for 90% of the time, getting those kills. They're going to push in if they need to help out with the team, but their objective is to go around, get the kill streaks up, make sure that you've got those artilleries, those cluster missiles, all that kind of good stuff on lock. They're going to be the person that's staying alive. They're going to be the person that's rotating for the kills the best, and they're going to be basically keeping the kills of the team up. Very good in control for getting the enemy tickets down and giving you an advantage that way, so that the enemies will play more recklessly. It's also very good in hardpoint for keeping enemies away from it, because they're going to be constantly spawning out by getting killed by your slayer. So this is a very pivotal role. You can either use an AR or SMG. Again, it's highly likely that an SMG is the selected weapon for most maps, but again, it depends on the range and that kind of good stuff, so personal preference does play a part in it, and also range of the map. You've then got your support or your anchor player. The anchor role originated in Black Ops 2 league play, where you would hold down a spawn point, usually played with an AR, and you'd be holding the back of a spawn, making sure that your team gets the best spawn point for the hard point or the next rotation, etc. And it was a very pivotal role. In this game, not so much. What we have in this game is instead a head AR or a top AR or best AR, and this person will be the person who's holding down the long angles. They're going to be playing for a power position, so they're not good. Sometimes this is in the hill, sometimes this is outside the hill. They're just going to be playing for the best position in that region of the map. They're going to be holding it down with that AR to get in those long distance kills, pinging people off the point way before they get there, and making sure they've got kind of overwatch on the rest of the team, which is a really vital role. In some respects it's quite an easy role because you're not moving around all that much, but in a lot of respects it's a very difficult role, because you've got to make sure you're on top of the kills to make sure that your team stays alive. Now obviously we've only got 4 players in Cold War, so a lot of teams run the kind of setup we've covered there. However, because you had 5 players on a team in Modern Warfare, some players also play the support / flex role, and this is where they use the SMG or the AR, so that's the flex element to it, and they also flex in terms of what they do, and that's where it comes into the support element there. So these players will sometimes jump on the hard point if they need to help out. They will play for kills if they need to do that. They'll play rotations. They'll play absolutely any role needed, and they're well versed in each of them so that they can just flex in and out. Now this often happens if, for example, your Slayer goes down, they've been killed in a certain area, so you need someone to pick up the kills until they're back up and into position. The support player will do that for them. If your player that's holding the objective is killed and you get the hard point back, but the Slayer wants to push out, your main AR needs to get into a good position for the power move there to control the map, then you're going to get your support player who jumps on time until the objective is back in position. It's basically the man that fills in for everybody else whilst they're either dead or caught off rotation, etc., and they just fill in whatever is needed. Now this player a lot of the time will be backing up the Slayer with kills outside the point when they're not filling in for enough of these roles, and they're going to basically be defending the other two players, namely the main AR and the objective player, while they're holding down the points that they need to hold down for map control and for the objectives. Another vital role in this game is the IGL, or the in-game leader. Now this is going to be one of the players on your team. If you look at teams like Optic, this was Scump for a number of years. It's the person who is giving the calls for in-game rotations. So, okay, we should rotate next to this one. Now what we should be doing is playing for kills. Let's play tickets on this because we're really close to getting their lives down on control. Okay, there's two over at A, let's plan B on S and D, for example. So it's the person who's the shot caller in-game. Now a lot of the times the pro teams have coaches and everybody does give calls in the game consistently throughout, but when it's time for a rotation, this person will be the first one to pick up on it, and usually it's the Slayer or the objective player, but it doesn't have to be. It can be just whoever has got the most game sense and game experience on your team, and they just want to be making sure that the team's staying on top of it. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a designated leader. A lot of the time when you're playing pubs, someone will pick up this role and just say, okay guys, let's rotate now, and this person is just basically making those calls. Again, in public matches you're going to get quite a few people giving the calls, and it's just going to be one of those things that you work through it. But when you have got a full 4 squad, you're going to notice that one person will pick up that call, even though the rest of the team already know it. It's just like a gentle reminder, like let's push for the next point, and they're going to be very, very pivotal, particularly when you're playing an intense game and you're kind of focusing on getting kills, getting the time up, all that kind of good stuff. They're going to be very, very helpful. Now in terms of the anchor role that was in Black Ops 2 holding spawns, this is now the responsibility of every member of the team. You should be positioning yourselves around the objective and around your Slayer base of where you're going to be able to make sure your team spawns in the right areas. As a Slayer, you'll know which spawns to push and which not to push to flip the enemies out. As the objective, you're going to be sitting on the hard point, so it's your job to take the time. But as the other two roles, as the main AR, you're going to hold down an area that blocks the enemies from spawning behind you and holds them down when they come out of their spawn. And the support player is obviously going to be holding the objective / playing for kills in the area that is going to be the most beneficial to holding down that spawn as well. If you are flipped out of spawns, anyone can rotate for them, whoever is nearby, and make sure you push them out very, very quickly because you want to make sure you're getting the best ones for the most amount of time on each hardpoint hill. Control, you don't actually get spawn flips, so a lot of the time the support player will just play Slayer on this mode and just go for the time on the control points and obviously the kills there as well. Now hopefully this guide has helped some of you understand the roles of competitive CoD a little bit better, and if it has, make sure you drop a like on this video. If you do have any questions whatsoever, drop them in the comments. I'll be sure to answer as many of them as I possibly can. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care and peace.